Hello everybody, it's Briggs here, and like always, welcome back to All Day Anime, and today we are going to be spilling some tea, throwing some shade, whatever it is you kids say nowadays. But anyway, the comments are going to be a disaster, because today I'm going to be ranking or tiering the best long-running shonen anime from best to worst, obviously. And I feel like the reason why I'm ranking long-running shonen separate from other shonen or other anime is, at the end of the day, it's already hard to make an anime, but it's even harder to make a long-running anime. Once you get into the hundreds of episodes tier, ooh, my light just turned off. Oh well, we're going through this. I don't care. Once you get into a couple hundred episodes, it gets a lot harder to manage all your characters, maintain an interesting story, not be overly repetitive. The rules for today are, I'm going to be basing it on the best source. We got SS as the best and trash as the worst. I separated things like Naruto and Naruto Shippuden and things like Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, and Dragon Ball Super into separate entities. I'm going to try to judge them on what I think the best source material is. For example, the Black Clover manga is better than the Black Clover anime, and vice versa for Hunter x Hunter. But yeah, let's jump into it. The first one we have is Naruto. And oh yes, by the way, I'm going to be comparing these against each other as long-running shonen and not like just anime in general, because a lot of these aren't even in my top 10 anymore, and I wouldn't, but like some of these are going to be getting SS and S compared to what they're competing against, obviously. Let's jump into it. We have Naruto first, the original Naruto, not Naruto Shippuden. And I actually really do like Naruto a lot. I think my main issues with Naruto actually come later on within Shippuden, and I don't actually have a problem with Naruto itself. Again, if you read the manga, you're not dealing with any of the filler or the pacing issues and stuff like that, so you just get the actual quality anime or version of the story. And actually, Naruto, I'm probably gonna give an S tier. The tuning exams are amazing. Zabuza was amazing. I never liked Sasuke as a character, but I think we weren't meant to like him, for example. What annoyed me more, actually, was how Naruto and Sakura treated Sasuke, even though he was being an asshole. So yeah, Naruto, I'm actually gonna give an S here. I think every arc, even the Sasuke retrieval arc, was amazing. It was just, they were all top tier, so I'm gonna give it an S, surprisingly. We got Fairy Tail next. I actually never completed Fairy Tail. I watched the first 100 episodes, like, twice, and then 100 up in like then the next 20 episodes after 100 up until 120 once. And the characters are fun. It's a fun show. I was always a little bit annoyed that like Natsu would learn certain like attacks and abilities and just stop using them afterwards. And honestly, I just kind of got bored with it. It felt like it was super repetitive to me. I'm gonna give it a C. I'm not saying it's trash. Trash is reserved for the bottom of the barrel. Like I could watch Fairy Tail. I'm not gonna love it, you know. There's certain anime I just can't watch. Next we got Hajime no Ippo, most of which you guys probably haven't seen. I had to include it. It's got over 1,000 chapters. I'm not completely up to date, but I've read up until like 700 or something like that, and I've watched the entire anime multiple times. I think it's amazing. I think it's probably one of the best things out of this entire list here. It's actually my 3rd to 4th favorite anime of all time. I might be a little bit biased, but everything from the characters, it has some of the best fights in all of anime. I'm actually going to give it an SS tier. It's at the top. And then afterwards, of course, I could go back and change them up a little bit if I think something's too high or too low, or even rank within the actual tier itself later on. But afterwards, we have Bleach. I think the first like 15 to 20 episodes of Bleach were like a solid A. But then the next like 70 episodes, the whole Soul Society retrieving Rukia arc is a solid S. To even SS. I'm gonna say like that arc is like an SS tier. It was just one good fight after another. Again, if you read the manga, you're not dealing with any of the filler, pacing issues, animation issues, anything like that. So I'm trying to look at this pretty objectively here. So I feel like the first 20 episodes were an A, the next like 70 or so were SS, and then it was really a roller coaster after that. I feel like it would go from something like a B to C to all the way back up to S and back down to C, and it would just up and down, up and down. I feel like I cannot give Bleach anything lower than an A just because of the first 2 arcs, but it really did go downhill from there. I was very disappointed with the ending, and honestly, just the last like 200 to 300 episodes, or 200 episodes plus later on in the manga. I didn't read the last arc actually. I heard it's bad, but I was so disappointed and so over Bleach by that point. I just didn't even care to read the manga. And people had read the manga and told me they was so rushed and abruptly done that it didn't get the justice that it deserved. And honestly, to me, it all ended after Aizen fought Ichigo in the end. So I was happy with the ending. Not even happy with the ending there. I was over the show at that point anyway. I'm gonna give it an A. It's like an A plus to an, I think it's an A plus to an S minus, but I'm gonna keep it at A for now. We may have to move this later. Next, we got One Piece. One Piece is one of those anime that just works because it's a long-running adventure. Everything from the amazing world building, the fact that Luffy and each individual character on the crew have ambition, that it works perfectly for a long-running story. A lot of the times they go from island to island, and each island feels like it could be an anime within itself. It's not as reactive in nature to something like Bleach, where Ichigo doesn't have an ambition. Not that he has to, but for something that's long-running, it helps because they're constantly moving towards something. So even when they're reacting to Luffy trying to save Robin, for example, at the end of the day, it's still proactive, moving forward towards an end goal. There are some reactive arcs, there's some proactive arcs because they're going to the next island to get closer to the new world, for example, or to get to Fishman Island, they have to go to Fishman Island before they go to the new world. There's some arcs that are part of the journey, and there's some arcs that are reactive in nature towards certain people's goals or certain things with the crew. I think Luffy is a fantastic character. He's very simple-minded, but at the end of the day, it works because One Piece is a very complex world, and then Luffy is so simple. He kind of just like sees something, does it. Wants something, gets it. It's a very corrupt world as well, and having someone that just does whatever he thinks is right or morally right without thinking about the consequences, I can't speak, in any way whatsoever works super, super well. I love all the characters. I'd say it's between an S and an SS. I'm going to give it an SS because I think there's more SS arcs than there are S arcs, but again, compared to other long-running shonen, I think it's at the top, along with Hajime no Ippo. Next, we got Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, and Dragon Ball Super. I'm treating them all separately. I would say I enjoy Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z equally. I probably have a little bit more nostalgia for Dragon Ball Z, but I'm going to say that I'm going to treat these equally. So, I think Dragon Ball's an A, Dragon Ball Z's an A. Should I give it an S? I'm going to give it an A for now. Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z is an A, and I'll give Dragon Ball Super a B. I think it's worse than things like Bleach, original Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, but also better than Fairy Tail. I did complete Super and read the manga. I think they're both good. For some reason, I just felt like it just had a different feel than Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. Goku and Vegeta, for example, felt like maybe they developed as characters, but they felt different. They changed. I feel like Vegeta wasn't as proud a Saiyan as he used to be, dancing for Beerus, for example. I think the arcs are weaker. I think Super Saiyan God arc and the Golden Frieza arc were low to mid tier. I think the ending was alright. I really enjoyed the last tournament arc. But overall, like I said, for example, for Vegeta, I feel like he was a very proud, ruthless person, and maybe you could consider that developing as a character because he got a family that he loves and cares for, that he's willing to sacrifice his pride for. Personally, I just didn't like him nearly as much within Super, even towards the end of Dragon Ball Z a bit. But you could see him struggling with that. Remember how he let Majin Buu take over his body or give him power because he was kind of fighting him changing in a way. A little bit too analytical for a tiering video. Let's just stay a little bit more, stay simple. I'm gonna give it a B. We got Naruto Shippuden and Boruto next. Again, I like Shippuden a lot less. I like the pain arc a lot, don't get me wrong, but everything after the pain arc I just didn't really like that much. The war arc was honestly like it was a disaster. Like I don't know if Kishimoto thought he was being slick with all like, oh, this is actually, it's not Obito's not the villain, Madara's not the villain, Setsu's not the villain, Kaguya's not the villain, it's this person, blah blah blah. Like they were all over the place. I didn't like the writing at all. It was so drawn out. Pain arc was good though. I'm gonna give it a B next to Dragon Ball Super. I think they're on par. Boruto, we're going trash. It's something that I couldn't even bring myself to watch. I watched 6 episodes. I watched the first 2 episodes like twice because I tried to get back into it a second time. Watched like 6 episodes, dropped it. I don't know. It could be better. It could be better. Just don't even judge my opinion on this. I really didn't give it as much of a chance as it deserves. It was just so bad that I couldn't bring myself to watch anymore. Next we got Black Clover manga is very good. The anime is trash, but like I said, I'm judging these on their best version of the source material. Luckily, I'm a weeb and usually partake in both, or like we'll engage in both. Black Clover is actually surprisingly good. I think it's on par with stuff like Bleach, Dragon Ball, and Dragon Ball Z. Next, we got Hitman Reborn, something that a lot of people forget about or overlook. I think it started out, I think the reason why it's hard for people to get into is the first 30 episodes are slow. It gets better after that. You really get to know the characters more. They develop. I love the characters. I don't think it's like SS or S tier, but I think it belongs in the A's. It's definitely better than Super and Shippuden. And I think it's good. I think it belongs with the A tiers. I think it's better than Super and Shippuden, but I think it's worse than the original Naruto. The original Naruto has a strong place in my heart. I might be overestimating it because of the nostalgia. When I went back to watch it, it wasn't as great as I remembered, but the first Zabuza arc and the tuning exams were unbelievable. I even enjoyed the Sasuke retrieval arc. So I'm going to leave it at S. Hitman Reborn is probably just below, but above these two over here. Next, we got Hunter x Hunter. Hunter x Hunter is one of those things, like the story's perfect, the world feels perfect, the battle system, oh my god, Nen's amazing. The villains, oh, Hisoka, Meruem, Chrollo, it's so good. The only thing that's a little bit lacking is the main cast. I never liked Gon as a protagonist, but because the combination of Gon and Killua, as well as the overall like Kurapika and Leorio, that combination works so well that it almost hid the fact that Gon wasn't the greatest protagonist. I think it's SS tier. The Chimera arc makes up like 1/3 of the series, and it's amazing. The York New City is honestly on par, maybe a little bit less. So like 90% of the show is SS tier. Maybe even just the first exams arc or whatever it's called, Hunter exams, was an S. But I think overall the show's an SS. I'm gonna leave it with SS with One Piece and Hajime no Ippo. Next we get My Hero Academia. Hunter x Hunter as well. I like the anime version way better than the manga. And with My Hero Academia, the same thing. It's almost like a new approach at long-running shonen, where the manga comes out weekly, but the anime, they do 12 episodes, take a couple months off, or a couple seasons off, or a year off, come out with 24 or 12, and they've been doing these for a couple seasons, and by doing that, they're able to put a lot of effort into the animation. The animation is great, the pacing is great, it definitely beats out Naruto, One Piece, and pretty much all of these in that category of animation and pacing. The only difference is I think the characters aren't the strongest, and I think the story isn't the strongest. In comparison, it probably belongs with these A tiers near the bottom, like an A- to B+. I don't know if I should put it at B+ or A. I'm going to put it at A- for the time being. And finally, what is this? This is YuYu Hakusho. It's funny though, because I actually like YuYu Hakusho better than Hunter x Hunter by the same creator, but objectively speaking, I think Hunter x Hunter is the better show. I love Yusuke, I love the character dynamic more than Hunter x Hunter. I'm a very character-driven person, maybe that's why I actually like, YuYu Hakusho better. I'm gonna give it an S overall. I think I don't really have much to say about it. I just love it. It's just a little bit worse than Hunter x Hunter, objectively speaking. I actually like it better from a non-objective bias standpoint, because I just fucking love Yusuke as a character. If I love the protagonist, a lot of the times I'm gonna like the show better than something that may be even better. Looking back at this list, I'm pretty happy with it. A quick little interruption, looking back at this video in retrospect. Considering it was unscripted and done in one take, I think it turned out pretty well. But I just want to say that My Hero Academia is that anime that's like good at everything, but amazing at nothing, which is why I think it does belong in A. I realized I didn't really talk about it very much. I also want to say that I didn't talk about Kenichi, which is my favorite anime of all time. Going just off the anime, I'd give it an SS. But considering that the anime didn't adapt the entire manga, I feel like I do need to go off of the manga to a certain degree. Going off the entire story, I'd give it an S, not an SS. I'm definitely biased, it's my favorite anime of all time after all. And I didn't talk about JoJo's either, and I'm going to give JoJo's an S. I would give it an SS, but for example, part 1 is just okay, while part 2 is amazing, part 3 is a little bit slow, but also had a very good ending, part 4 was amazing, part 5 was amazing, and from what I've heard, it gets even better later on in the manga. So I'm going to give JoJo's an S, I'm going to give Kenichi an S, going off the entire story, and yeah, that's it. Jump back into the video. If I were to go in order here, I would probably do One Piece, Hajime no Ippo, Hunter x Hunter. Yeah, that's how I'd rank it. I'm very biased with One Piece. I'm a One Piece fanboy after all. I do think it's amazing. I think the cast of characters is amazing. Again, I'm a very character-driven person, so maybe that's why I'm weighing that a little bit more than something like story. I think the world's better in One Piece. The battle system's obviously better in Hunter x Hunter. I think Hajime no Ippo has literally the best fights in anime. Some of the best fights in anime, for sure. Takamura's fights, Ippo's fights once it starts to get serious a little bit later on. Comedy's great. The stories are very. The characters are great. I'm happy with these S tiers. I'm also happy with the SS tiers. I'm also happy with the S tiers. I'm actually gonna rank YuYu Hakusho above Naruto. Within the A tier, I think for me it's going to go Dragon Ball. No, Bleach. Fuck. All right, no. Oh my God, I'm struggling. I'm gonna go Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Bleach, Black Clover, My Hero Academia, Hitman Reborn. Suna wasn't the greatest main character. Like, I liked them, not a ton. I like the supporting characters a lot more. It had a great supporting cast. Here, I'm gonna rank Super more better than Shippuden. Fairy Tail sucks. Boruto is trash. And everything is balanced as the world should be. Let me know what you guys think down below. Hopefully you're not too triggered, but you know, obviously, feel free to express yourself down below. Try to be polite about it. I know people won't be anyway. You're just weak if you let this get to you. You're allowed to have a different opinion than me. It's okay. Don't be weak. Don't let this get to you. Don't let this get you triggered where you start swearing and using profanity. It's unnecessary. Just say, hey, Naruto's S tier, you're a mad lad. You're crazy, dude. Or like say, Boruto, you judged it prematurely. It gets better later on. Or say Fairy Tail has the most lovable cast ever, or something like that. It should be at least an A or some, I don't know. Some bullshit. Say that you're a Dragon Ball Z Super fanboy and you think Super belongs higher. I think Super wasn't nearly as good as Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, or any of these in the A, S, and S tier for that matter. I'm super happy with how this turned out actually. Let me know what you guys think down below. Subscribe for more, and just like that, I will see you guys all next time, dudes. L, Sai, Kongru, and Shinpaku.